For those taking digital, you have PDFs to potentially practice on. Doing problems on screen is a good way to practice. So treat your books now, if you're using physical books, like it was a digital screen. So you can't draw or write on the screen. You can't draw or write on the LSAT tablet. You have to use scrap paper on the side. So be ready to use scrap on the side. The other thing, as you've seen with the tablet format on LSAT's site, familiar.lsac.org, is that you can only see one question at a time. I'll pull that up just for those of you who aren't familiar yet. You see this is one logical reasoning question. We've got the stimulus here, the question stem, the answer choices, but only one question at a time here. Now, that's not that big a deal when you're doing logical reasoning. But in games, for example, you see here, you only have one question plus the paragraph. And so you have to get used to looking at only one question at a time. If you want to look back at question 2, you have to scroll back. If you want to look at question 6 or 7, you then have to scroll back to go between them. And so that can be a little bit annoying, a little bit of something to get used to here. And so you want to practice like that even on paper. Now, the question is, how do you do that? Because on paper, of course, you have all the questions grouped. And I'll just show you what I mean by that. The free sample PDF on LSAC's site. And you can see for logical reasoning, you could see a bunch at once on one page, which doesn't really matter because it's logical reasoning. They're all separate from each other. But then let's see if we go to games, you see all the games questions are grouped at once. And so you can easily look between all of them. And then, of course, for reading comp, it's especially useful to see all the questions associated with one passage at the same time, just to go up and down between the 2 pages. And so it is a big difference to get used to that when you're doing the digital format with only one question at a time. And so I have a technique for that here that I'll share with you, just to give a good contrast here. So this is a logic games question, the first game of June 07. We looked at this together in an earlier class, and you see all 5 questions associated with this game are viewable at once. You could see all 5 at once, which is nice because they're a group, they're associated with each other. But if we have the digital LSAT, we only have one question at a time. And so the technique I've developed for this, I basically did a cutout. I took a piece of paper and I cut out a little hole to isolate only one question, just like it'll be on the digital LSAT, so we can get used to it. And so I just basically took a piece of paper, cut out a hole that was the size of one question, and I place it over the PDF printout. So you can see now it's like it'll be on the digital LSAT. This is obviously a simulation. It's not a perfect approximation, but given that it was only 3 exams right now on LSAC's site, we need to make do. There are 86 numbered and a handful that are unnumbered. And so the vast majority of them are not in this interactive format like LSAC has done for these 3. So something to practice for, something to get used to. I guess the final thing I'll share about this is that you want to get used